Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, Tuesday night officers were called in for a death investigation on the city's east side.
Police released the body cam footage of the officer who responded to the deadly mass shooting at the Allen Premium Outlets Mall.
And 25 News Now is looking into reports of illegal street racing in one of the busiest areas of town.
We're looking at the hot weather, but there is some hope. You see this dome that's over us? Well, that's going to be rolling eastward. And I think that by the time we get to 4th of July, it might be a little bit closer to normal around here. We'll have all that coming up in a moment.
And the Victoria Generals are looking to keep the momentum going from last night. That's going on in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Tuesday night around 7 o'clock, officers were in the 2500 block of Duncan Street for a death investigation. That's on the city's east side, south of U.S. Highway 59 and just east of North Ben Wilson Street. Police have not released the name of the man who died. He was 75 years old. Foul play not suspected.
Police in Allen have released body cam video showing an officer at a shopping mall running toward the sound of gunfire and taking down the gunman who killed 8 people, including 3 children. On May 31st, the unidentified officer was in the parking lot of the Allen Premium Outlets Mall when he heard the sound of gunshots. He grabbed a rifle from his car and ran in the direction of the gunshots. He found the gunman and opened fire, killing the gunman. 7 other victims were also hurt. The video was released today after a grand jury cleared the officer of wrongdoing.
As the temperature rises in South Texas, there are more heat-related emergencies reported.
Specifically with the San Antonio Fire Department.
Lots of water the night before and water on the course, of course some Gatorade and ice water and cold rags.
Luckily, Carlos Delgado and his foursome of veterans were on the back 9, finishing up at Brackenridge by 12:45 on this scorching hot afternoon.
We watch out for each other out here.
That's exactly what San Antonio fire crews do and recommend you do the same. The unusually high temperatures this month is keeping the San Antonio Fire Department so busy that they are rotating shifts more frequently to relieve fire crews on scene.
As of yesterday, we've seen about a 48% increase in calls, heat-related calls.
San Antonio Fire Department spokesperson Woody Woodward says the 48% increase in heat-related calls represents a sharp rise this month compared to the month of June last year.
That could be a variety of things. Someone just feeling ill, someone actually passing out, you name it.
That's why Woodward says it's vital that you call 911 if you feel ill or see somebody who appears to look weak.
If you're feeling nauseous or if you're feeling dizzy, like you may pass out, then you may be looking at heat stroke instead of heat exhaustion. And heat stroke is very serious and can be life-threatening. To
prevent a heat-related illness, Woodward says stay hydrated and try to limit the amount of time you're outside.
If you're outside, out in the sun, every 10 to 15 minutes, you need to take a break, get out of the sun, seek some shade, cool down a little bit.
A little hot, but what else can you do?
ERCOT, the agency in charge of the Texas power grid, forecasting another record-setting day for power use. Energy leaders met in Fort Worth Tuesday to talk about the challenges ahead for the industry. A key topic, managing population growth and increasing demand on the state's power grid. ERCOT has diversified the grid using wind, solar, natural gas, and nuclear power. And the legislature recently approved incentives for new power generation. But State Senator Kelly Hancock says getting that capacity built and on the grid will take time.
I do think as we move forward, we've done a lot. Now it's time to let the markets kind of settle out so that investors are comfortable coming in and investing in the type of technologies we need.
Another challenge, keeping the cost down. Texans saw record electric bills last summer. Lawmakers hope a more balanced market will keep prices low.
Refugio County now under a 60-day burn ban. The Refugio County Commissioner's Court approved the order during a special meeting Tuesday. The ban does not prohibit the sale and discharge of fireworks. And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis, who tells us there's some hope in sight.
Well, let me tell you, we do have a little bit of hope. Now, this map shows you the country, right? The hottest weather was on top of us, but now you can see how all this red stuff is moving over here to the Mississippi Valley. That means that the center of the high is moving here. That's going to open up the Gulf door and maybe give us a few little showers around here, kind of like the old days, you know, but that'll be next week. So a couple more hot days, and then we'll talk about the weekend and the 4th of July coming up in just a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. The Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, known as ICE, has a new leader. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announced Patrick Lechleitner will serve as the acting director. Lechleitner previously led Homeland Security investigations. President Biden's pick for the position, Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, withdrew from consideration a month ago after his nomination stalled in the Senate. ICE has not had a Senate-confirmed director since the Obama administration.
25 News Now is looking into reports of illegal straight racing on Friday nights around 10 o'clock along Mockingbird between Navarro and Laurent. This is just video of that area. We inquired about complaints within the last month and no one has called the Victoria Police Department. We're now checking for this entire year and we'll keep you posted on those updates. And so this is going to bring us to your viewer poll. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, have you witnessed illegal street racing in your area of town? Yes or no? We take a look at these results and 64% say yes, 35% stand at no. We want to keep on hearing from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we will of course have an update tonight at 10. Now this week we told you about stray and roaming dogs in Bloomington. One resident was concerned because they were sometimes aggressive. Animal Care Services sent us this photo today to say 2 of the main dogs causing the issues there were picked up. Call Animal Care Services if you see any stray or roaming dogs in your neighborhood.
This weekend, the Stroman class of 1973 celebrating its 50th class reunion. 50 years, and this week we're introducing you to some of the graduates who went on to do great things. Linda Phillips Borneas, who is a senior class officer for the Stroman graduating class of 1973, in charge of decorating the decor for this week's festivities. She says that although it was 50 years ago, events like these connect them to the past and where they came from.
I think it does put you in touch, right? It kind of gives you a touchstone after that many years of being away from each other. And not that you want to spend time together, because obviously you would be doing it if you wanted to, but it's kind of a touchstone. Yeah, this was then, this is now. This was then, this is now. Just a touchstone. I don't know.
The reunion festivities will kick off Friday at the Dutch Lane Pool and Pub located at 1507 East 1 Lynn. On Saturday, the celebration continues at Club Westerner, situated at 1005 Constitution. Tickets for classmates are $50. Guests can join the fun for $20. For more information, reach out to Gerald Shellhab at pdv@glenroselaw.com or call 361-571-4678.
In order to complete the construction of an oil export terminal in the Matagorda Bay, the Army Corps of Engineers would be required to dredge a deeper and wider 22-mile channel. Comments regarding public opinion on this dredging are due July 3rd and can be sent by mail or by mail to the addresses on your screen, which will pop up later. But we do have more information on our Crossroads Today website.
The Victoria Police Department invited local children to their annual summer camp this week. After 6 years, the department changed the camp's name to Camp Kimron. Kimron was an honorary police officer with the VPD. She battled cancer, and Kimron told her mother she wanted to take bad guys off the streets. That's exactly what the children are learning at the camp this year.
I think I'll be a great police officer, and I'll serve the community great.
It's kind of like a very mini police academy type thing. It's just a good opportunity to have positive contact with these young kids.
Officer Brogger says there are several activities for the children. They learned to fingerprint, search crime scenes, and even worked on some virtual reality situations. Children eligible for the week-long camp are 10 to 14 years of age. Make sure to sign up next year.
Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. Port O'Connor Chamber of Commerce 4th of July celebration begins this Saturday, July 2nd at 10 a.m. at the Kingfisher Beach, and 50 entrepreneurs were busy selling lemonades during the first Calhoun County Lemonade Day. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can join us on YouTube at Crossroads Today. All right, and stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. In Dallas, several fire stations report experiencing air conditioning issues amid these dangerously hot temperatures.
Also ahead, Madonna is postponing her world tour after spending several days in the intensive care unit. Hot temperatures, several Dallas fire stations are having air conditioning issues.
Dallas fire stations with air conditioning issues in the summer.
It's a yearly occurrence.
Dallas Firefighters Association President Jim McDade says once again, somewhere between 5 to 10 stations are affected. Various AC units are out, so portable units are in place.
Cools the station down to probably 85 degrees at best. And some stations, it's even warmer. It's like 5 to 8 stations that are supposed to be getting new AC systems in the next few weeks. But some of those we've also been waiting for multiple years.
McDade says what's happening is taking a toll on firefighters.
You know, it makes it harder to sleep at night. When we can catch a little bit of sleep, it's hot, which isn't conducive for any to keep anybody healthy, mentally, physically, in any sort of way.
McDade says he's talked to city officials, but at this point doesn't feel confident the problem will be fixed. He says it just doesn't seem to be a priority.
I'm more shocked when things get done than by the time frames that they give us these days. It's getting old at this point, you know. These issues should be addressed and should be addressed in a timely fashion.
Madonna is postponing her world tour after spending several days in intensive care. Wednesday, the star's longtime manager posted on social media that Madonna developed a serious bacterial infection last Saturday. Her manager said she is improving and a full recovery is expected. However, the start of her celebration tour will be pushed back. The tour was initially scheduled to kick off July 15th in Vancouver, Canada.
And part of that tour is going to Austin. And here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. The Chisholm Trail Heritage Museum hosts a Juneteenth celebration. The Cuero Rotary Club announces new board members. Plus, Executive Director of the Cuero Economic Development Corporation, Maggie Cromines, selected for the Texas Economic Development Council training program. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, yes, the heat goes on. It's a big story, and now it's going to be an even bigger story as it starts spreading other parts of the country. For us, 94 right about now, 104, that's what it feels like. Your high today came in at, I believe it was 98 degrees. Yes, it is. 78 was the overnight low. Now, look at these average temperatures. Low 90s, low 70s overnight. We're going to be a little bit closer to that beginning next week. So maybe the worst part of this heat wave is, I wouldn't say over, but it'll be a little less. So this is called the not so hot forecast, and we'll have that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. Everybody, I hope you had a good Wednesday with all the heat. There's not a lot of hope in the short term. In the long term, there's a little bit of change that I think is going to be, shall we say, noticeable for us. Looking at today's high temperatures, these are the observed. You can see well into the upper 90s, a couple of hundreds here and there. Rest of West Texas, where there's no humidity and it's all wall-to-wall sunshine, you can see hundreds all the way down from Laredo all the way up to Amarillo. Now, what I'm talking about is the hope in even on this map, you can start seeing that right here on the eastern side of the state, temperatures are going to come down a degree or two, and then another degree or two, and then hopefully another degree or two. And the reason for that is we have been suffering under this big dome of high pressure that sinks basically onto. There's so much pressure that the little cloud can't grow. It gets squashed down. So that's why you see the periphery of the big high is where the shower activity is occurring. So nothing happens under it, but on the edges of it where the pressures are a little looser, that's where we get all the stuff. Well, now the center of this makes a big difference on how hot it is, and that's what we've been surviving through the last 3 weeks. And now all that is going to be rolling eastward. That's going to be interesting because it'll be centered out over the Mississippi Valley. Now I hope that people there are getting ready for this. I hope they've been paying attention to what we've been through because they're next as that system moves eastward. Now, also, all this in gray is air pollution advisories for more smoke that's coming out of Canada. These are forest fires. Now, you know, we pollute every day, but pollution, believe it or not, they have measured the size of the particles. The smoke particles are larger, and they get into your lungs and they get lodged. So, pardon me, on this map, we have the Canada fires. So all of these little red dots are where they have active working fires. And you can see right about here, the big mountain range is right about here, where they're getting a lot of forest fires. Now, you know that above the Arctic Circle, the temperatures are now fairly balmy. You know, it's not as cold as it used to be. So a lot of this, which was called permafrost, is melting. That's adding to the fuel for the fires, and so it's kind of what we're dealing with now that the climate is really changing on us. So here's the big bubble. You can see it rolling. It's going away. You can say goodbye, goodbye, okay, go on, and it starts to settle over here. That means that by Friday, Saturday, we're starting to see a stronger sea breeze with a lot of humidity in it, and that is going to give us a shot at some rain. So we take a look at the Atlantic, some disturbed weather, but not an organized system right about there, because remember, the shear, which is the opposing wind, is still fairly strong. But down here, where the water is really warm, there's vital areas for that to grow. Now here we have the Pacific coast and we have Mexico right about here, Acapulco. Adrian is moving away from sea, but this is the B1. It's starting to organize and it may be much closer to land, so they have to watch very carefully where it does get organized. For those of you in Port Lavaca tomorrow morning, it's 82, getting up to 93 in the afternoon. And then as we get into the day for Cuero, it gets up to 96. And, you know, this 96 sounds like nothing now. For the rest of us, watch this. Okay, 96, 97, then 96 for Sunday, and then 95, 94. Beginning on Sunday night, and even on Monday, we may have a chance of a shower or two. These are garden variety, not severe. They'll be in the afternoon hours. And the peak of it will be on Wednesday with a 40% chance. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding you that we do have a QR code. Scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. And now here's Carino.
Thanks, Mac. And now we go to Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. The NFL is cracking down on gambling, and some athletes are getting punished. That's coming up after the break. At a crossroads, former NFL and Texas high school quarterback Ryan Mallett has died of an apparent drowning. According to local investigators, the 35-year-old Mallett was pulled unconscious from the water in Destin, Florida on Tuesday. He was pronounced dead at the hospital later that day. The Arkansas School District, where he worked as a high school football coach, confirmed his death in a statement. The beach where he went swimming was under the subject of a coastal hazard message at the time. Mallett played quarterback for the Arkansas Razorbacks before being drafted by the New England Patriots and then going on to play for the Baltimore Ravens and Houston Texans. Sticking with the NFL, multiple NFL athletes are in the red and expected to be suspended for gambling. Colts quarterback and kick returner Isaiah Rodgers headlined the list of the handful of athletes that are going to be suspended for the entire 2023-24 football season. The Colts plan on taking full responsibility for his actions, and the NFL plans to instill new policies by requiring all rookies to attend a mandatory education session on what is and is not legal in the NFL. The Victoria Generals are on another win streak and looking to continue that against the three-game series against the Acadiana Cane Cutters tonight. Last night, the Generals took on the lead early and never looked back. The Generals scored 2 runs in the bottom of the first, but that would be the most exciting thing for a while. That was until the 6th inning when the Victoria Generals scored 5 runs in the 7th when Reed Spinrath hit a 3-run triple. He would have 5 RBIs on the night, and then things exploded again for the Generals when they scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Jack Hagan pitched the entire game and had a shutout, only allowing 2 hits in the contest. Tonight, the Generals are taking on the Cane Cutters, which are 4th in the league. The Generals are currently sitting at 2nd behind the Brazos Valley Bombers. And the gymnastics world is flipping with excitement. Simone Biles is on the entry list for the U.S. Classic in August. If the 26-year-old competes, it will be her first competition since the Tokyo Olympics. Biles pulled out of the team event after struggling with the twisties, a term used to describe mental health blocks when performing in midair. The U.S. Classic is an annual elite gymnastics meet. Competitors must sign up to take part, but once registered, are not required to participate. This leaves gymnastics fanatics around the world wondering, will we be seeing Simone Biles for the first time in 3 years? Don, you said you've seen her in person and she was pretty short, right?
She could be the mayor of Tiny Town, actually. I mean, she's really a fantastic gymnast, the greatest of all time from Spring, but very, very small. But, you know, if she stood on her accomplishments, she'd be 10 feet tall. There you go.
All righty. Well, thank you to you both. And we're back in a moment. Animals at the Tampa Zoo are getting cooled off in this hot summer heat. We have that story straight ahead.
Florida soaring right now. The folks at Zoo Tampa are taking notice. They're looking for ways to help them beat the heat. And what better way than with some frozen treats? Some animals are even getting to enjoy ice baths or sprinklers in hopes of staying cool. Temperatures are hitting the mid-90s in Tampa today, but the heat index closing in on 110. So any relief is surely a welcome sight, you know?
What about the relief for us, though?
Ice baths, sprinklers,
Yeah.
frozen treats.
They're recommended for us too.
We'll take some
Frozen treats,
Yeah.
ice baths, yeah. That's what it's going to take, folks, to stay cool. So like everybody else in the country, do the best you can to stay cool. It's going to be hot for 2-3 days. On Saturday, Sunday, I believe you're going to see more clouds beginning to develop and a little bit of a blue sky, and it's going to look good. So Monday, Tuesday, and especially Wednesday, we have a chance of some afternoon showers around here. These are going to be garden variety, driven by heat. They're not going to spoil your party. As a matter of fact, if you catch a shower on 4th of July, run around under it. That'll be a lot of fun.
Thanks for that tip, Mac. We'll all be doing that. All right, and thanks for joining us.
That's right. We'll see you back here tonight at 10.